very disturbing situation out of Seattle, Washington, where a young lady was hit by a police officer. She ultimately passed away. And the disturbing part about this, other than her losing her life at such a young age, is that one of the officers within the department, a detective, was caught on body cam laughing about this young lady losing her life. When one of my peoples showed me this clip, it was just disturbing. I have a young daughter. I have young children. So without further ado, let me play the clip and we'll see what you guys think about it and go from there.
This video from a Seattle police officer's body-worn camera captures what sounds like a callous disregard for human life.
I think she went up on the hood, hit the windshield, then when he hit the brakes, flew off the car. But she is dead.
That's the voice of SPD Officer Detective Daniel Otterer. It's recorded January 24th, one day after a woman, 23-year-old Jaahnavi Kandula, was struck and killed by another officer's squad car while that officer was responding to a call.
So let me stop that right there. That clip in itself shows a total disregard for human life. And then for you to be in a position to where you're supposed to protect and serve these people, this individual wasn't directly responsible for her being hit and killed, but this is a representation of some of the people that we look to for protection. You should be held at a higher regard within the community. And yes, your community doesn't see this from you every day, but this is who you are. So if you're willing to sit there and laugh about something like this, what else have you done? Like, how could you not feel for the family? Let me continue the video. That's not it.
Does not seem like there's a criminal investigation going on.
In a different portion of the call, the officer appears to be talking about paying off the victim's family, such as a monetary settlement if the family were to sue the department.
No, it's a regular person. Yeah, just write a check.
Wow.
Just, yeah, $11,000. She was 26 anyway. She had limited value.
Wow.
Seattle police say the video was flagged by a department employee, say the Office of Police Accountability is now investigating. But that's not blunting the impact for some.
I don't even have the words to describe how I feel. I'm sickened, for one thing. And it's doing a lot of damage.
Victoria Beach works with new Seattle police recruits, says she's hopeful for the future of the department, but is saddened to hear those words.
Somebody died. How do you laugh and joke about something like that? Whether you agree or not, keep your mouth shut if you have comments like that. And especially you're an officer. We don't need you. You're not what Seattle Police Department wants.
As for the officer heard in the video, King 5 has confirmed he's also the vice president of the Seattle Police Officers Guild, the largest law enforcement labor union in the Northwest. The Guild did not return a request for comment. In a statement, the Seattle Police Department says it's been in touch with the family of the victim and continues to honor their express request for privacy. They add that as others in the accountability system proceed with their work, the department extends their deepest sympathy for this tragic collision.
So at no point did I hear that not only did the officer in question be held responsible and accountable for this tragic situation, but they failed to mention anything about the officer laughing about the death, being reprimanded, disciplined, or even counseled, retrained. To me, that says that it's okay for him to continue policing with a sociopathic mind. Sickening.
The police department still refuses to say more about the incident, including how fast that officer was driving at the time. Fox 13's Nia Wong has reviewed a minute-by-minute timeline of events Monday night, including police radio traffic, Nia, in those moments.
This is
why
such a
would you be
horrific
quiet?
and heartbreaking situation, and the audio we have gives us a closer look into what happened that night. But we do have to warn you, some of it may be disturbing.
Very
I am
disturbing.
holding a Precedence 1 call at 708-6 North. It's an overdose and fires now en route.
The Seattle Police Department says one of their officers was responding to a Priority 1 call on Monday night. Seattle Police classify this as the highest priority call. But when the fire department dispatches this call, it does not mention any type of threat.
This will be in front of this address for a 28-year-old male, possible overdose. SPD is responding.
You can
So the reason for me showing you the second clip is just to give you a little more context as to what happened prior to this young lady getting hit by the police officer and losing her life. So it's leading up to that. This is the dispatch call. I'm going to jump back into it.
hear the dispatcher describe the subject as alert and responsive.
The person overdosing is calling it in himself. His name is Alex. He's refused to give the rest of his name. He wants to stay on the phone with us until officers arrive.
A minute later, tragedy strikes.
Start fire for a struck pedestrian.
Dispatch then asks the officer if they're at the location where the overdose call is based.
The same location, 7086 North.
Negative, I'm going to be on Aurora.
The officer is not on Aurora. They initially seemed confused as to where they are. Not long after, a correction is made, where they confirm they're on Thomas and Dexter. On Tuesday afternoon, SPD originally said the officer was responding at the request of the Seattle Fire Department. 10 minutes later, they released an updated statement saying the officer was responding with the fire department. Seattle PD has not revealed the name of the officer. We only know they've been with SPD for 3 years. But through a GoFundMe,
So it sounds like there's a lot of secrecy with this situation. I understand wanting to protect your fellow officers to a degree. I understand wanting to take your time releasing information due to not releasing improper information. But at the same time, it seems like a cover-up from the jump. And if it's that quick of a cover-up, that means you're used to doing that.
we are learning more about Jaahnavi Kandula, the woman that SPD hit and killed. The GoFundMe says the Northeastern University student leaves behind her single mother, who is a teacher in India. This online fundraiser has now surpassed its goal to financially help Kandula's family. We reached out to SDOT for a history of crashes at this intersection. They tell us that before Jaahnavi Kandula's death, there were no reports of cars hitting pedestrians at this location since January 2018. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour on Dexter Avenue North and 20 miles per hour on Thomas Street. Fox 13 asked SPD on Wednesday if the responding officer had their lights and sirens on, as well as how fast they were driving, only to be told they can't answer those questions right now.
So is that not odd that they're not willing to answer any questions, give any details for fear of putting any factual information out there that may look the officer, may make the officer look bad? It sounds like it's a cleanup from the beginning. I don't doubt that it was an accident. I don't doubt that he was speeding to get to where he needed to be. The question is, how did he hit a pedestrian in a crosswalk? I mean, there should be training on that, or else pedestrians would be getting hit every single day in every single city that officers have to respond to an emergency for.
We reached out again to the Seattle Police Department on Thursday for another update, and they sent us this statement in part. For purposes of both preserving the integrity of the investigation and respecting the family's right to privacy, we'll not be putting out information over and beyond what has already been provided. We'll provide all publicly releasable information, including the report, once we are able to do so and in consultation with the family. We extend our deepest condolences to Ms. Kandula's family and friends. This incident is a terrible tragedy for everyone involved. Meanwhile, Jaahnavi's family tells us her mother's hopes and dreams are cut short, saying in part, "We are truly heartbroken. Jaahnavi was a brilliant student with a bright future. Jaahnavi's smile was radiant, and her bubbly personality warmed the hearts of every person she came in contact with." Detectives from the Traffic Collision Investigation Squad are leading this investigation.
So if we go back to the very first clip that I played, where the officer was laughing, he actually mentioned that, hey, she didn't have much value. she was only 26, write a check for $11,000 as if her life was only worth $11,000. Think about that. This is the mindset of the officer policing the streets of Seattle, Washington. Would you feel safe with your kids or your family members being policed by this individual? Not I, said the captain. I want to know more. I'm not done with this story. This is something I literally came across this morning after I left the gym. So I downloaded the clips. They touched me that much. You know, she's 26 years old. She seemed like a great individual. If this officer didn't value this young lady's life, and she's one of the young potential leaders of our future, whose lives does he carry value for? Obviously not hers. To me, that's very disturbing. I am Cappy on the Great. Welcome to Mindful Exchange.